Hi students, I welcome you all for control system lectures for third year first semester BTech EAE students. In the last class we discussed about introduction to control system. In the topic we have come across a few things like what is system, what is control system, what are the variables that involves in control system, and what is open loop control system, what is closed loop control system, and we came up with a few examples of what is open loop, what is closed loop, and real time examples also we have discussed in the last class. In this class, we are going to discuss what is a mathematical model. So, to control any system, we need to get the mathematical model. That means we need to know the system behavior properly so that we can able to control it, right? So, mathematical model is something which gives the mathematical expression of the physical system. It replicates the physical system in terms of a mathematical model, mathematical expression. Right. So the problems involved in the real time can be translated into mathematical equation that can be referred as a model. So coming to the types of models, different types of models, there exist the three types of models. One is white box model, black box model, and gray box model. White box model is something which is obtained from the physics of the system. That means we know the dynamics of the system by using the physical laws or chemical laws. For example, Newton's law or Einstein's law. We will be deriving the mathematical model. We will be applying those laws to the physical system and we will be deriving the model. So that kind of mathematical model which is obtained from the physical laws are referred as white box modeling. Coming to the black box modeling is something which we don't know anything of the system. We have the sources to give input and we can able to get the output. So if we don't know anything about the system and we can able to give the inputs and we are able to get the outputs from it, by using this input output relationship we can formulate the model. There are few methods we can follow those methods and obtain the mathematical model from the data, input output data. This kind of modeling is called black box modeling. So gray box modeling is something in between white box and black box. I think by this time you understood. That means we have half of the data. We don't have a complete data of the system. We have half the data of the system. In the same way, we know something, not completely, but we know something about the system. Some dynamics we know. So when I can able to apply some physical laws where I can able to get half of the things are not completely, right? So that kind of models which are obtained from half data and half physical laws are the combination which we use both the methods, which involves both the methods like white box and black box together and get a model out of it. That can be referred as gray box modeling, right? So basically coming to the mathematical model, usually I am telling that mathematical model is something which replicates the real-time system. So how to refer a mathematical expression which tells the real-time system? We need to know the variable of interest. So what are the variables involved in the system? For example, if you consider a level tank, so what are the inflow rate? Like suppose my variable of interest in level tank is to calculate the level, to obtain the level so that I can able to control it. To get the level, that means we need to get a model to control the level process. So to control the level process, we need to get the level tank model, right, in terms of a mathematical expression. So in what mathematical expression I can refer the model? In this, again, there are three types of methods based to represent in mathematical expression. One is differential equation. So we can refer the system, we can refer the real-time system, we can replicate in terms of a mathematical expression either in differential equation or in transfer function or in a state space model. So there are three types of models. One is a differential equation model, one is a transfer function model, other one is a state space model. So we have to represent in this particular mathematical expression. So to know the system behavior, we need to know how the system behaves with respect to time. So in this aspect, there are two types. We can represent the system in terms of time, like whether it is time variant or time invariant. When the input I am giving, whether the output is influenced, yeah, it will be influenced, but whether it is having a linear relationship or a non-linear relationship. So it is referred as, suppose if I am changing the inflow rate of a tank, the water level will increase. So I am giving the step input and I am getting the response which is increasing in a level aspect, right? Height of the tank will rise. So if you analyze the response of the system, how it behaves, y is the output, that is, it is increasing in a linear fashion. If suppose the linear time variant system, that means it is increasing linearly, and if it comes and settles, if I open the bottom of the tank, that means I will leave some outflow rate so that I will maintain some level. That means it reaches steady state. So when the system starts rising and reaches its stability, and those systems are referred as time invariant systems, right? Though there is a change in input, there is a change in input in sense, there is a change in inflow rate, but still the system is at a steady state, right? When it happens, when I am giving outflow rate, constant outflow rate, right? So this is an example where we can represent time invariant systems. Time varying systems are something we are actually trying to reach its steady state point. That means we are giving certain input and we are actually not opening the valve outflow rate. What happens? The level increases in a straight away and it will overflow, right? That means there is nothing like it didn't reach any steady state value. So from the starting of the initial state to final state, the system doesn't reach a steady state value. So these systems can be referred as time varying systems. So I have given example, mathematical expression of time invariant and time varying signals. So coming to the lumped parameters and distributed parameters. So control system, you have to refer in terms of a mathematical expression. I already referred it. I already told you that we have to represent in terms of a mathematical expression. And the first thing I told is either you can refer it in terms of a differential equation or a transfer function or a state space model. So lumped parameters are something like we have to describe the system in terms of a differential equations where the parameters are clubbed together. That is, the dynamics of the whole system is lumped at a time. That's what the title name came from, the title, that is lumped parameters. So these systems can be referred as a differential equations. Right, distributed parameters are something, the parameters are distributed partially, not distributed in the whole space, whole time interval. So this kind of systems are referred as partial differential equations. So these are distributed parameters. Coming to the continuous and discrete systems. From the title itself you can understand the response of the system is continuous with respect to time. If you observe the plot here, where x-axis is time and y-axis is the signal output, system output, it is varying with continuously with respect to time. So we will get all the data in the whole time space, timeline, right? At any point you refer, I have a data. Right, this kind of systems are called continuous systems. So discrete systems are those where we have samples, we have the data, it is as referred as continuous, it is also a kind of signal which we get the discretized form of the signal, right? When I am giving certain input, see, suppose in this time scale, if I referred third spike and fourth spike, if I want that signal in between this, am I able to get the signal in that? No, because either it will give the lower boundary signal or it will give the upper bound signal. So this kind of signals are referred as a discretized signal or digital signals, right? Discretized time intervals. So deterministic or stochastic. So systems when I am giving certain input to the system, when the system response is a periodic, that means after certain interval of time when the signal is repeating, those systems are referred as deterministic systems, right? Stochastics are random signals. Random signals are those when I am giving certain input to the system, we can't predict the output, how the system behaves. It may go randomly. So those systems are called stochastic systems. Hope you understood till this. Yeah, coming to this is actually the flow chart of the different systems involved in a whole control system. So whatever the topics we covered till now, like introduction to natural man-made system and manual automatic system, open loop, closed loop, which we discussed in the first class, are categorized under this flowchart. So coming to the next topic, linear and non-linear systems. As a derivation or as a expression, how I can define the linear system or non-linear system. If the system satisfies superposition principle. What is superposition principle? When the system satisfies homogeneity and additive properties. That means when I am giving a certain input to the system, when the same amount of input, same gain of input is reflecting in the output, when the relationship between the output and input are in a linearized fashion, which satisfies the homogeneity and additivity. Additivity again is if I am giving say a(x1), a1x plus b1x is giving a1 plus b1 of y, right? If I am adding signals, that is a1 plus b1 to the certain input signal, when the same output also reflects the additive property, that means the output will get the addition factor of a and b, then those systems are referred as linear systems. So which satisfies the superposition theorem, right? In other end, the non-linear systems are those which doesn't obey superposition theorem. So those systems are called non-linear systems. Under this category, as we mentioned, what is time variant and time invariant system? Both the non-linear systems and linear systems can be referred as a time varying as well as time invariant systems, right? In this world, like whatever we see are actually a non-linear systems. Anything is a non-linear systems. What we try to do is we'll use some methods, some approximations of those non-linear systems and make the non-linear systems into a linearized system, right? This is what the introduction about the mathematical modeling and different types of control systems and different types of input-output signals. So with this introduction, we'll go forward to derive the mathematical model of RLC circuit. Right, I hope you understood the topic till here. So once we jump into the mathematical modeling of electrical system or a mechanical system, it will be more clear why we need the system, why we need the modeling, why we have to do the model, right? Okay, I'll go and derive. So coming to the topic of mathematical modeling of RLC circuit, you can see the resistor here, right? the resistor, the inductor and the capacitor. We are giving some input voltage Vi, and the current across the circuit is I. So the output here is so capacitor C, and the output is V naught, right? So what we are trying to do is we are trying to do the mathematical model for an RLC circuit. RLC circuit you can see here. So we need to get the model. As I mentioned, the model is something which gives the input output relationship. So here what we have to get is, sorry for the disturbance. So here what we have to get is V naught by Vi. So the relationship we have to form using V naught output and V in, right? I hope it is clear now. So Vi is equal to, if I apply by applying KVL to the above circuit, by applying KVL, we will be getting Vi is equal to Ri plus L into di by dt plus V. What is L here? L is inductor value, R is a resistor value, right? So by applying KVL to the circuit, we will get Ri plus L into di by dt plus V naught. V naught is voltage across the capacitor. As we know, voltage in parallel circuit is the same as the input, right? So that's why at capacitor, end it is right. Yeah, when I on the capacitor, what is the current at capacitor? I is equal to C into dV naught by dt, right? So by applying, I can mention this as equation 1, this as equation 2. I will substitute I equation 2 in 1, equation 2 in 1, right? Vi is equal to R into C dV by dt, dV naught by dt plus R into, sorry, L, this is L, inductor, sorry, L into C d square V naught by dt plus V naught. Now if you observe, we have the output V naught in all the right hand elements, right? We have a V naught in all the three terminals. Now what we have to do is, we need to segregate the input output relationship. So what I will do, I'll send this LC on the left hand side. Why I am sending this, I will tell you in the next part. I will tell you why I am doing it. 1 by LC into Vi is equal to R by L dV naught by dt plus d square V naught by dt plus 1 by LC into V naught. So what we are getting here is something like V naught expressed in terms of Vi, right? So we form the relationship of output and input. Hope you understood till here. So either this is actually the mathematical model of RLC circuit. If we want This is the expression mathematical model of RLC circuit. If you want the same model to be represented in terms of a Laplace domain, that is a transfer function model, what we are trying to do is we are applying Laplace transform. Laplace transform to equation 3. Apply Laplace transform to equation 3. What we are going to get is so applying Laplace transform to equation 3, we can rewrite this in terms of 1 by LC Vi of S is equal to R by L into S R of S, sorry, R by L into S plus S square plus 1 by LC into V naught of S. V naught of S. S into V naught of S. S square into V naught of S. So I'll rewrite this. Then I'll send this V naught on left hand side, and what we are getting here is Vi or V naught, sorry, we need to get V naught by Vi is equal to, we need to send the other terms, that means take a common of V naught of S, V naught of S by Vi of S, V naught of S by Vi of S is equal to 1 by LC will go to right hand side, and LC divided by R by L into S plus S square plus 1 by LC. Right, this is the mathematical model of RLC circuit in Laplace domain. Laplace domain, it is Laplace from S domain or Laplace domain. So this is an example of RLC circuit. We derived the RLC circuit and formulated the mathematical model in differential equation and as well as Laplace equation, Laplace model, transfer function model, differential equation model as well as transfer function model. Now coming to the next topic, mathematical modeling of mechanical system. So let us consider a mechanical system. So before going to mechanical system, I need to tell you what is the mechanical system actually. What are the components of mechanical system? So mechanical system, we have mass M, spring K, and damper or dashboard. It is referred as B. M, K and D. So these are actually the mathematical elements, the mechanical elements to derive the mathematical model, which helps to derive the mathematical model. So with an example you will understand what is actually mechanical system and how to get the model from the mechanical system. So let us consider a system, free flowing body. This is a mechanical system. We have spring K, K1, mass M1 and damper B, B1, say B1. Also another mass M2 and another spring we can add here, ck2, and I'll give some input here which is referred as f1 of t, and the output I will take it here which is referred as x2, and the output at m1 is x1. Right, this is one mechanical system where we need to get a model. This is one kind of mechanical system. So if you consider so now in while solving the mechanical system, while deriving the model for a mechanical system, we need to obtain the mathematical model by using the free body diagram, something called free body diagram. In free body diagram, that means we have to take the individual elements of the mechanical system. I'll take m1, so I'll be taking x1. What are the forces acting on m1? So x1 is actually output. So whatever the forces acting on the particular element will be referred in the forceful, like inward direction, and the forces going out is referred as the outward direction. Like outward direction is this way, right? So what are the forces on this m1? What are the forces acting on the m1? One is k, right? Force on the k, that is a force f of fk1. Another force acting on m1 is actually b, fb1, right? What is the outward force? That is like input to the system is the outward force, that is f1 of t, and another force acting here is b1, that is, here I will mention it, b1 is the another force. So what I am trying to do is, this is called a free body diagram. I will take the individual elements of the mechanical system. For that individual element, I will be drawing free body diagram where I will show the forces, how the forces acting on that particular system. So okay, then coming to the individual expressions of each force, that can be referred in this way, this fashion, where for considering force of mass, actually mass itself is actually inward force, right? Internally is having one more force, that is actually Fm. Mass itself is having force, right? Fb1. Okay. Mass, this body itself, it will produce some force, and the other forces are k1, b1, and k2. K2 also I need to refer. I think I will refer it here. Fk2. Right. These are the forces. Now to represent the mathematical model, Fm, that is the force due to mass itself, that is mass equal to, force means F equal to ma. What is force? Force on mass, that is F equal to ma, that means a means acceleration, that is double differentiation, that is second order derivative of displacement, right? So m1 and d square x1 by dt square. I am representing the force of mass in terms of displacement, change in displacement. So displacement with respect to force, that is F equal to ma, where a is an acceleration. Acceleration is the second order derivative of displacement, right? Then coming to b, force due to b1, right? Force due to b1, that is actually, if you observe, there are this b1 is acting both on m1 and m2. So for this kind of elements, we need to write it like b1 force due to mass m1, that is d by dt of x1. So when I am calculating for m1, we need to write the force acting on the m1 in terms of displacement, that is x1 minus x2. So B1 is acting on both m1 and m2. That's why I am writing this way. Right. So F again, the another one is K1. Fk1 is equal to K1 x1. That means there is no other force. This is a stick to one free body. I mean, it is the other end of K1 is not there. So we have only one end of K1 that is attached to mass. So we will get only K into x. And the other force, spring, that is K2, it is in between M1 and M2. So we have to repeat it as B1 again. That means Fk2 is equal to K2 of x1 minus x2. Right. Hope till here you got the point till here. I hope you are understanding the mathematical expression of deriving M1 as a free body diagram. So what I'll do is I'll add all the forces to form the expression with respect to M1. That means force F1 of T is equal to M1 d square x1 by dt square plus b into d by dt of x1 minus x2 plus k1 x1 plus k2 x1 minus x2. So by applying a Laplace transform on both sides, what happens is f1 of s is equal to m1 s square x1 of s plus b1 of s, b1s of x1 of s minus x2 of s plus k1 x1 of s plus k2 x1 of s minus x2 of s. So this is an expression of mathematical expression for M1 alone, right? So what we are trying to do is we are actually forming the mechanical model, and mechanical model will be derived by individually taking the force free body diagram. That means we are taking the individual mass element and we will be checking what are the forces acting on the mass. Once we'll segregate all the forces acting on different elements forces on that particular mass, we are summing up all the forces, which gives the expression of mathematical expression of the forces acting on that particular element. So F1 gives the expression of M1. F1 here the expression I will call this as equation 1 here, okay. I'll call this equation 1, this as equation 1. This expression gives the model of this particular M1. So now what we need to do is we need to do the same procedure for M2. But for M2 there is no external force. Like if you observe for M1 there is an external force F1 of T, that is actually input. So there is no such kind of inputs to M2. So what we will do is left hand side we will make it 0. And we will continue with the procedure as per. So what are the forces acting on M2 is B1 and K2 alone, right? So we have to formulate B1 and K2 I am giving this as assignment to you. Need to form the whatever the expression I formed for M1, we need to do the same procedure and form the expression for M2. Then we need to get the model of x2 divided by f1 of t, x2 divided by x1 of t. This is actually the output is x2 to input f1 of t. So this is what the mathematical model. So as a part of the derivation, you try to solve the mathematical expression for M2 as the same procedure you have to follow. Whatever the procedure I taught you for M1, do the same procedure and we'll continue in the next class.